freak, are you kidding me?
So this is rock bottom, the lows of the lows, where you're buried in problems with nowhere to go. They say it gets better, but how should I know? They call this rock bottom, but I call it home. I call it home.
I mean, come on, give me a shot on the mic and pass the blunt, so I can show I got what it takes to be the best that we'll ever be. Can't you see the problem of this dilemma I'm having, wreaking havoc onto my family? I can never put my feelings out to them, so I write it down in the scripture of a song real heavy, because I could never see eye to eye. We can never get along. God forgive me for my sins and the wrongs and the sins I'm about to commit in my everyday life. But you had me sent down this path, and I know not yet why. All I know is it's helping me just get by just fine, trying to figure out and define who I am as a man in life and where I belong.
So this is rock bottom, the lows of the lows, where you're buried in problems with nowhere to go. They say it gets better, but how should I know? They call this rock bottom, but I call it home. I call it home.
I guess this is the outlook I got on life, through a much darker scale, constantly feeling like I'm being impaled by the sword of life. So I know death awaits around the corner with the gun, nowhere to hide, nowhere to run. I'm really doing this just trying to have some fun, by putting a little bit of truth into my lyrics, and now I can no longer hide behind my feelings, begging for my life and my forgiveness. All I ever wanted was to start a family of my own, and I guess in the way I did, I'm sorry I couldn't hold. I couldn't even be there in the beginning to help us all have an inspiring win, but it was just a loss in the end. I really wish I had a helping friend.
So this is rock bottom, the lows of the lows, where you're buried in problems with nowhere to go. They say it gets better, but how should I know? They call this rock bottom, but I call it home. I call it home.
Really wish I knew how it got better. I'm down here at the bottom, struggling to make a way with no cheddar in my pockets to even make it better. Constantly hearing this bitching and complaining about how we're broke, and we do not know how we're going to make it through. Burnt holes in our pockets, constantly trying to help out one another, so we all got it, instead of being focused on themselves so they got it. Because you're not gonna know when it's your time to go, and now it's my time to blow up on the mic, and I can feel it inside, trying to wait for my right moment, because I feel like I'm chosen for something way better.
So this is rock bottom, the lows of the lows.